Hi Eric. So last lesson for chapter 8 already. Applying inequalities, which basically you want to define your variable, read it, then define your variable or variables, write an inequality, then simplify and solve it, and then write your answer in a sentence. Right? So let's do these two skill set. So Asher delivered a newspaper in his hometown. He makes 70 cents per week for each newspaper, each customer. He spends $1.50 per week on rubber bands. Asher wants to make a profit of more than $42. So right now, I wrote, let C equal the number of customers. You can use whatever they want. And he wants to make more than 42, so greater than 42. So he makes 70 cents on each customer. And then he has to spend $1.50 on rubber bands each week. So that's minus that. So there's your inequality. And now let's just solve. So add 150 to both sides. So that's 43.50. And then divide both sides by 0.7. And there's the work right there. You get $62, or 62 and a seventh. So it's 62 and 1/7. So he can't have, how many customers? He needs at least 63 customers, right? Or he needs more than 62 customers. It's English, so you can say it a bunch of different ways. All right. Number 2. 3 times the larger of 2 consecutive integers. All right, so let x equal the first consecutive integer and x plus 1 equal the second consecutive integer. Right? And then it's 3 times the larger. So 3 times parentheses x plus 1 is greater than 70. So is greater than, that's just is greater than 70. So simplify or distribute and subtract 3 from both sides. Divide both sides by 3. That's 22 and a third. So it's got to be greater than 22 and a third. So it's got to be the first number consecutive integer is at least 23. And the second consecutive integer is at least 24. Period. Groovy? So now we're doing the skills check number 2 on page 338. So 6 times the smaller of 2 consecutive integers. So let x is the first and x plus 1 be the second. Right? And so 6 times the smaller. So 6 times the smaller, well, that would just be 6x. 6 times the smaller of 2 consecutive is at most, so that's less than or equal to 35 more than, so I'm going to go plus 35. When it's 35 more than, it's the 35 is on the right hand side. 5 times the larger. 5 times the larger would be 5 times x plus 1. Right? Like if you have, anyways, so I'm going to distribute. I'm going to simplify. That's 5x plus 5 plus 35. I'm going to keep simplifying. That's 5x plus 40. And now I'm finally going to solve. I'm going to subtract 5x on both sides. So x is less than or equal to 40. So the first consecutive integer is, I could just say at most, is at most 40, is at most 40. And the second consecutive integer, I would add 1, is at most 41. Right? You digging that? You get that? All right, number 2, you can pause and read it and try yourself for a bit. Anyways, the first consecutive odd integer is x. The second one's going to be x plus 2, where it's odd or even, you always add 2. Right, so 5 times the smaller, so 5x. Of 2 consecutive is at least. Is at least. So if it's at least 10, that means it's 10 or more. Like at most 40, that means it's 40 or less. Anyways, just kind of double check with easy numbers. At least 10, that means it could be 10 or 20 or 11. I mean, so it's going to be greater than or equal to when it's at least. And then 50 more. So that's the plus 50, and then the larger, and that's x plus 2. So there it is, right? So then I'm going to simplify. So that's x plus 52. I'm going to subtract x from both sides. I'll put a 1 there to help myself out. So 4x is greater than 52. Divide both sides by 4. X is greater than or equal to 13. So the first consecutive integer is at least 13 or 13 or more, you could say that. The second one's going to be, you got 2. Second consecutive integer is at least 15. All right. Right. Number 3, the last one here, you can read it there. X is going to be the measure of angle B, because you're comparing A to B. A is twice B, so B is going to be X. So A is, the measure of angle A is 2X. And then C is 1 more than A, so C is 2X plus 1. So there I've defined my 3 different angles. And then it says the sum of the 3 angles, so that A plus B plus C is at least 61. That means it's 61 or more. And 1, that adds up to 5x plus 1 is greater than 61. So 5x is greater than 60. Divide by 5. X is greater than or equal to 12. The measure of angle B is at least 12 degrees. Right? So anyways, you want to start with let statements, write your inequalities, simplify and solve it, and then write a statement, a sentence answering the questions. All right? So hopefully that was helpful. Love you, buddy.